Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ESL Major League here for week number 5. My name's Kyle Aris, alongside Kaldor as always. How are you doing, man?
I'm looking forward to today's game. It's going to be a really good one, considering how well Gamers2 has been doing lately, and LDLC, of course, being the top team. I'm excited. How about you?
Very excited. You're right. This is going to be a pretty good game. We actually only have one game today, just keeping people informed as to what's going on in the league at the moment. And that's because, unfortunately, El Nexo at the moment is at 3 players after dropping or losing Alistar as well as LoL versus XD. So Who is Kazooie later on gets a pass or a def win in the next series, but that leaves us with LDLC and Gamers2. And also that leaves us in a very interesting situation where both of these teams, their next games in the next 2 weeks, are actually versus El Nexo, who at the moment have forfeited the entirety of the Major League. So this game today that we're going to have between LDLC and Gamers2 basically decides first place going into the playoffs. So very exciting.
Another thing that we should probably also highlight as well is that Gamers2 is, of course, the former 3D Max team. They just changed in, I think, like 2 days ago at the weekend. Sunday was, if I'm not mistaken, the first time that they played with the new tech. So people looking at the screen right now are not really knowing what exactly is going on there with Gamers2. It is the Polish team that was formerly playing for 3D Max, and before that was known as Team Paper. And why? Because paper beats rock.
Ah, okay.
That was the explanation that I got when I asked.
Okay, fair play. Well, I can understand that one. I can understand that, I guess. So very soon we're going to be going into the bans and picks here. Again, for me now, this, especially since this leads to first seed going into the playoffs, this is such an important match for these two teams. Of course, you know, if you get first seed, you end up playing against fourth seed going into that playoffs, and that gives you a lot of breathing room and a lot of potential to actually move on to the finals of that upper bracket and then potentially the finals of the entire tournament. So this is so exciting. For me, both of these teams looking poised as the 2 best teams in Europe at the moment, and I'm sure that you feel pretty much the same here, Kaldor.
Oh yeah, they've been doing extremely well. We had a couple of teams emerge just recently that are also way at the top in the standings right now, but they have to prove that they have the stability that we see from teams like LDLC and, of course, especially the Polish team that has been around for like an eternity. And it is a 3-mapper, and that's the best thing to happen with the tournaments. You always have that little problem that it's most of the tournament, it's just going to be a best of 1, but here with the best of 3 format, I love that. So this should be an exciting one.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be starting things on Sky Temple as our first map here between LDLC and Gamers2. Both of them are ready, so let's get into the picks and bans here and to really grind out the meat of what's going to be going on in this first game. And ETC already gets banned for LDLC.
Yeah, ETC probably one of the most important picks for most of the teams when it comes to the tanks. ETC and Stitches kind of being on eye level. It depends a bit on what kind of comp you want to play. If it's more of a jumper comp that you're trying to play with Illidan, then ETC is a great hero. He works also very well with Stitches himself, because you can hook a target and then use your face melt and the power slide to just like keep somebody in. And with both of them banning tanks, this is now going to become very exciting, because there are not that many tanks around that you could pick at this moment.
Well, that is certainly true. And also, you know, ETC, the one thing that I've been experimenting myself with a lot, of course, I mean, a lot of people have been doing it, is the ETC Tyrande kind of comp that you see. Because if you take True Shot Aura with Tyrande and you have ETC's buff, it's almost like a mini Bloodlust for your entire team quite a lot of the time, with a 30% increase that you're able to get across that. So ETC has certainly taken on a life of its own since the last patch. It's so strong.
Yeah, and I really want to see what they are doing in terms of the tanks at the front line. We have Chen picked very often, but more as a disruptive force. There's, of course, Muradin, who has kind of lost a bit of his flair from the last patch, but is still a good hero to take. Diablo is making a reappearance now, since you can also use him as a direct counter to the Ravenous Spirit that we see from the Zero players often. And we have still Arthas, not a hero that you see a lot, but he has been played in this patch, so this is going to be interesting. But first of all, I mean, damage, that's what it's about. And we're having the Siege Tank, the Sergeant Hammer for LDLC, and Vala on the side for Gamers2.
Alright, so where are Gamers2 going to go now? It's going to be Tassadar as they pick that up. So LDLC now has to be mindful of the idea of later on potentially melee assassins coming along. Tassadar obviously works great with Illidan, and Illidan was not one of the bans that we've, you know, seen a few times in the past in these games. So what is LDLC going to go for?
This is actually like a really high chance that we are going to see some Illidan, maybe even some Zeratul play. First of all, with LDLC going up against the comp with Vala and Tacita, you can really see that Gamers2 is lining everything up so that they can then pick the assassin of their choice. And with both of the assassins available, I don't think that to them it matters too much which assassin they get. So you kind of pick around the assassins first, and then at the end of the draft you still have the option to go into one of them. Damage again for LDLC in this case with Nazeebo, and that opens up a potential Diablo play from Gamers2. Not necessarily, but with 2 tanks banned out, it's definitely an option. It's definitely something that we could see.
I'm surprised they picked Nazeebo that early because of exactly what you're saying. You know, normally when we see Nazeebo come out in these draft picks and bans, we see him pretty late in the draft. But now with him being mixed in here second for LDLC, there is opportunity for Gamers2, as you mentioned, to go for something a little more counter.
They had to. If they don't pick him here, Gamers2 is going to pick him. They have 2 picks next, so with that, they would have picked up Nazeebo. So if you really want to play him, then you need to take him now. I don't think that you have another choice in the case of LDLC. I mean, there is other damage on the board, definitely, right? But Nazeebo is such a good pick, especially on the map, especially on Sky Temple. So him not being here, that would be a bit awkward. So in this case... yeah, we're having him picked together with Uther. We, of course, need also a healer for Gamers2. And they could go Rhaegar Illidan. They could go Rhaegar Illidan and then pick a tank as their last lineup, so that would definitely work.
Yeah.
By the way, if you press F5, we would see the map as well. I just realized, sorry, I didn't realize the delay between the streams. I didn't realize it doesn't show up yet. I
was worried to press it, whether or not it would put a delay a little bit, but now
it's fixed. That delay thing is fixed. It's just because they add the map late.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, that fixed things. So yeah, it will be Sky Temple, as you can see on screen. But yeah, I really like the idea of going for like the Illidan as well as the Rhaegar on the side of Gamers2. They've got the good setup for it right now with the Tassadar. But they're going to go for Tyrande, who all around is just pretty darn fantastic.
Yeah, Tyrande is definitely a great hero, especially on a map like Sky Temple. You can use Starfall, and they go Chen together with that. I'm a bit surprised that they didn't go for an Illidan comp, but with that, they certainly have some damage. The interesting choice is the last pick that they're going to go for. Well, it's going to be one of the healers. We could see Malfurion here for the roots, but for LDLC, I'm actually curious right now. I mean, with the lineup that we see so far, I would have expected Rhaegar and Illidan on the side of Gamers2, considering what they're playing here.
Yeah, likewise. Oh well. How much has Tenacious Roots been really... if we see a Malfurion, for example, is Tenacious Roots something that is taken quite heavily on Sky Temple? Because I really feel that, of course, Hardened Focus is really, really cool, but Tenacious Roots, the amount of CC it actually gives you as Malfurion is very, very powerful.
It's actually quite popular. But on the other hand, if you look at Sky Temple, a couple of the root talents usually fall victim to you trying to go for a mule. That can also, of course, be taken by something like Tyrande. So mules on this map in general are pretty strong. And there's Muradin taken as the tank on the side of LDLC.
Okay, so a little bit more lockdown there. He will survive quite a bit, obviously. And that's Storm Hammer, or Storm Bolt even, I should say. Very, very powerful. And what is going to be their last pick? Do you think it's going to be like a Zeratul or something like that? What really fits into this composition here?
They could go for something like a Zeratul and go for a setup with a Void Prism for the Ravenous Spirit to have some synergy there. For both of the teams, we do not really see a lot of synergy between the heroic abilities just yet. You can, of course, always like go from an Uther stun into a setup, but in this case, they really need something to combo with that, and Zeratul would fit in there for sure. But they only have Uther, which is, I guess, fair enough. Like, you don't need too much more than that. I think for them it's also a bit of a question what they are going to face here. Another reason why ETC is so good on this map, where we could, for example, see Brightwing, is that he has the global presence to go for a split pushing, which can be absolutely amazing. Yeah,
definitely with stage dive, that does help a lot. I was half expecting Gamers2 to go for a Muradin over a Chen pick when Tyrande came out, because again, we've seen that kind of roaming ability of those two. A little bit harder on Sky Temple, but it's still very, very powerful with the Storm Bolt into the Lunar Flare, etc.
Yeah, it's not so much about that. It's more about them trying to have something in their comp that can easily stun out the Nazeebo. So they can jump in with a flying kick and go for the Wandering Keg and then just like simply stun Nazeebo out of it, or like push him out of the Ravenous Spirit. They need something for interrupt. And the only other thing that they have is Tyrande, and Tyrande might not get close enough or might have to overextend to do something there. So it's actually like one of the picks that you see these days a lot when Nazeeb picked for the opponent's team, if you don't want to go for something like the outlaw.
Well, the last pick from LDLC was Tychus, and they thought long and hard about that one, so they've got a lot of power, a lot of damage behind this composition that they're going with. And you know, if he's going to go for Odin and they have the front line of Muradin and Uther there to be able to tank up what is going on, I think that they're going to be able to push out a lot of damage here, and Gamers2 is going to have to be careful.
Yeah, we've seen Reyna played on this map a lot with Hyperion just recently. Would have been another option for them. There is Malfurion, as already earlier like assumed. And yeah, I mean, decent lineups for the two of them. I'm surprised that we do not see Illidan played at all. I thought that Gamers2 had a very nice setup for that, especially with them already having extra Tacita and the option to go Rhaegar. They decided not to go for it. And yeah, it's going. I'm pretty curious how they're going to fare with this now.
Yeah, likewise. You know, the Malfurion that we saw come out there, it's cool as well. I've been experimenting a lot with Malfurion myself as well. I mean, obviously we're all playing all of the heroes because they're all fantastic, but I've had a lot of fun with Malfurion in regards to being able to lock people down with stuff like Tenacious Roots, for example, over when you get to level 16. But now we're going to see who's going to be able to win this out. And again, as we mentioned before, this is very important. The team that wins this will go first place in the league and will stay there for the next 3 weeks until the playoffs, unless something utterly crazy happens. But that's highly unlikely. I think it's impossible. So yeah, first place on the line here today.
Yeah. I'm still a bit surprised by a few of the picks, to be honest. I'm looking at that lineup still, and just in the recent days in general, there have been a lot of drafts that didn't really make too much sense. What I'm missing in the Gamers2 lineup, not saying that the comp is bad, it's all good heroes that they have in there. So we're talking about like tier 1 heroes like Vala, Tyrande being extremely good. On this map in particular, we talked about Malfurion being a solid choice as well. But usually with Tyrande, you oftentimes try to go for stun combos. You try to go for Vala together with Muradin. Tyrande together with Muradin. Tyrande together with Stitches. Even with Uther, you can go stun into stun, and with the Hunter's Mark, then it really pressures the opponent. In here, there's nothing that works with Tyrande, and Tyrande draws a lot of her strength from just having that. You can, of course, then say that, yeah, with Malfurion, you have something to root somebody, but that is so difficult to pull off compared to a normal stun combo. So it's a bit interesting to me to see that they don't really have a lot of synergy between these heroes.
It comes back to I guess if she does, obviously, when she takes Starfall, if they're able to lock someone down with a good route, then they could do a lot of damage because they have to be on those points to actually contest them. So the second Temple phase could be something that, you know, if they're able to get up to 10 and kind of delay it for a little bit, they could actually cause quite a bit of damage with the small synergy that they have in that regard. But yeah, it is interesting that they haven't taken as much stun with it. You're right.
Yeah, you're not really only taking Tyrande for the Starfall. I mean, it's really nice to have that, but she is somebody who really lives a lot from Hunter's Mark and the stun there. On the Temple, as you already said, the area of effect damage abilities, ultimates, and talents are very strong. But yeah, that's what surprises me with that lineup, slightly. Looking on the lineup for LDLC, I mean, we have a double stun, we have a normal right-click DPS with Sergeant Hammer, then there's Nazeebo as well. And I really like what they have there. I mean, it's a pretty vanilla comp, you could say, with a lot of damage, actually. Like, you could have seen even a double front lineup with this, but they have a ton of damage here. And they have good chances of bursting something down. I mean, there is some kind of, like, sustain with Tacita and his shield, with Tyrande. We might actually even see, like, Tyrande go into protective shield as Malfurion goes for a healing ward. That might happen if they don't really think they need 2 healing wards. But yeah, that's a lot of damage for LDLC there.
All right, well, we're getting loaded up and good to go into game number 1 in this best of 3. Just to remind you guys, it's only one best of 3 today. Unfortunately, El Nexo have had to forfeit their match coming up against Tuis Kazooie, who take the def win. And now it's going to be LDLC versus Gamers2, the recently picked up Gamers2 X3D Max. And as we've said before, so excited for this series. This is 2 of the best teams in Europe facing off against each other, and it's likely to be a very high level one.
Yeah, that's at least what we would expect here, considering that the 2 teams are currently at the top of the rankings. And especially 3D Max is doing a lot of work these days, winning a lot of their matches. But well, let's jump right into it. Sky Temple is the first map here today at the ESL Major League between Gamers2 and LDLC. Gamers2, the former ex 3D Max team. The Polish team here to the left side in blue with Leo from Korea on Malfurion. We have Nika playing Vala, ADRD on Tyrande, Shaihu on Chen, Yoba on Tacita. And to the right side it is the Spanish team. So Poland going up against Spain today. Tidaka on Muradin. For the red team we have Polato on Uther, Kilachino on Tychus, Blackscorp on Azebo, and Falcon on Sergeant Hammer. I'm Caldo and with me is Calarius, and we're going to bring you the coverage here of our best of 3 series between LDLC and Gamers2 at the ESL Major League.
All right, and we're already having LDLC move over to the Watchtower to try and contest this location. No movement from Gamers2 on the other side, though. They weren't willing to really deal with that at the start of this. And Falcon's just going to head up to the top here with Polator.
Yeah, and we're having the first talent choice adjusting to the opponent's team composition, with Muradin going straight for Reverberation on level 1, going into the Thunderclap build, and trying to make sure that the right-click potential on the opponent is not going to deal too much damage here. Which is actually interesting if you think about what we're having for them. There is, of course, always the right-click that Tyrande can dish out, and we're also having Vala going for multi-shot build here, so it's not like a Rancor build was detected. So it's an interesting talent to take. You would have rather expected that to be taken if there's even more right-click damage than that, but an interesting choice. Yeah,
you're right. Generally, you see that when like an Illidan has been taken, for example, because he's jumping in, he's in those lines anyway, and he's almost definitely going to get hit by a Thunderclap. But Kilachino going quite low here. There's the Hunter's Mark, and oh, the Lunar Flare picks him up in mid. Nice.
Really nice. That was well done by ADRD, already kind of trying to figure out where Tychus would end up and going straight for the kill here. That was really well done. And that was also at a very good time when the Temples are about to come up, so they go into those fights with the slight lead in experience that might give them the earlier level 4, and therefore a chance to maybe use those healing wards.
ADRD had a Lunar Flare way off point there, so with a good one, unfortunately came a bit of a poor one there at the end, but now they can position themselves well against this. Blackscorp is going to go to the mid, and we're also seeing, well, Shaihu also there, tanking up a little bit of that damage. Blackscorp has to be very careful there.
Yeah, and he just dodges the Lunar Flare. Nice trap against 2 of the heroes. At the bot lane, Muradin is still soaking experience for the Polish team, and sorry, for the Spanish team. And so far, we're having with the Temple quite some damage done to the structures, but you can really see that they don't even go for the Temples any longer, LDLC. They instead soak experience on 3 lanes and have 1 hero up at the top.
They've got to be careful about that, because the middle Temple is on half duration, whereas the top one has a little bit longer. So if they contest that and try and push off the red team, they could bring a lot up here to actually get some damage. But again, these earlier Temples only getting walls, really, so they're not the biggest of deals here as it goes on forwards.
Well, they give you that lead for the for the second Temple phase, and every single bit of experience really counts towards that level 10 that you try to reach before the bottom Temple activates. And if that happens, you can lose the entire match just on the back of that. We saw that yesterday in the HCL final, where El Nexo lost their first match to Gamers2 because of that exact reason.
Well, actually, also going into Thunderburn there for the level 4 talent on Muradin, whilst all this fighting is going on at top. Kilachino taking a lot of damage. Nika with a multi-shot across that small crevasse and was able to do a little bit more, but he does get healed up with shield, so he's okay.
Yeah, I actually like that. So right now it looks like it's not really an adjustment to the opponent's composition, but instead just a new build that Tidaka is trying here. It has been popular for, I would say, like roughly a week, where people have been experimenting with Muradin a lot in the last patch, where he was one of the main tanks. But basically everybody started to decide that it would be much better to go into a normal Stormbolt build. I'm interested to see if he switches out the 7 talent as well later, because that is the one talent where everybody, even the Thunderclap fanatics, have said from the beginning, double stun, that's just too strong, we need to keep that.
And we're seeing 3 healing wards come out from the other side on those level 4 talents. Tidaka getting quite low though here in the mid and has to jump on out, saving himself, but this did give up this easy camp on this right hand side, which was technically LDLC, so a good start here from Gamers2. Oh, Kilachino! Oh, goes down.
Yeah, Kilachino down, Blackscorp defending at the bot lane, and those Temples are going to come up very soon. We're having next to the triple healing ward on the side of the Polish team, also now for them Enduring Growth, and they have a mule taken. Both of the teams have one taken on. One on Tyrande, giving up the Aura, and another one on Azebo, giving up Gitbin here. And it is indeed the Piercing Bolt for Muradin. So Tidaka decides to go into the Thunderclap build, but still sticks with the level 7 talent for his Stormbolt.
A lot of control in the flow of engagements being taken there from from Muradin. Whoa, Shaihu really going aggressive on Black Scorp there. He's going to have to get out as Falcon's doing a bit of damage in, but will leap out of that position. They've also taken a hard camp up to the north, so right now, Gamers2, I really like their opener. They're going to hit 10 pretty quickly, and this bottom temple is now active, but if 10 comes along before they actually take that...
Oh, it will. You can't fight.
Yeah, it's going to be
LDLC
scary.
cannot fight. They cannot go in. This is impossible for them. They're 2 level behind. The 10 hits, even if it doesn't hit at the same time, you can just rotate. So that temple is already completely won. And at this point, we are seeing LDLC in a horrible position. This is like really bad. They're going to lose the temple. They're going to fall far behind. They're going to lose at least 1, maybe 2 forts, depending on how aggressive we're seeing Gamers2 push in here. This is the problem when you fall behind in experience before the second temple activates down here at the bot lane. You give up so much, and they try to compensate for it with having the heroes on each lane for the experience.
And with the timing of the easy camp that they were able to take on their side, they waste even less shots on this bottom temple, so that they can get even more damage done on the other forts, even I should say. So LDLC are trying to push this top fort, and they will get a lot of damage done, maybe even a kill, which is a nice little compensation. But ADRD and Leo from Korea are on the move.
Yeah, and Jove should be able to defend that for now, and then they can just drop the mule and heal it up again, the same that we're seeing in the mid lane. But the temple is probably going to drop that regardless. There are 5 shots still left, and I think, yep, it's going to be enough. So they lose 2 forts, as predicted earlier. At the top, the mule is dropped 2 level ahead. 12 against 10, that's big, because that 13 talent is going to be there very soon, and that is going to be a very strong one. And we haven't even seen a team fight yet. Exactly,
an extremely strong start here from Gamers2. As now Shaihu as well as also Nika are moving up to the top here. They might catch Palator, as he does have Hunter's Mark. Lunar Flare, actually I think that may have hit him, but he did get cleansed during all of that from himself.
Yep, Palator cleansed himself in that and got away with it. So it was a close one as well. If he dies there, then it's lights out, because then they could even push in the structures. And yeah, the boss is apparently like one of the things that might be targeted. That would be a like a desperation boss. I don't really think they're going to go for it. It was just a ping on the map, but I think that was just them indicating that they need to move to the bot lane to get the experience here. And you can see the problem already. 13 versus 11. That's going to be the case in just a few seconds.
Easy camp being taken on the left. Maybe they'll even try and rival the one on the right-hand side if they're very quick about moving over there, but it doesn't look like they're going to. So it's just going to be easy camp for both, down to the bottom. As Shaihu just positioning himself in mid, looking to jump on anybody if they stray too far forwards. Zhao's in support, and they reveal themselves, so they've given up on that idea for now.
They could go for boss. They have two levels. They have the extra talent. They could try and force that. It's taking, of course, a bit of a risk. At this point, they have all the options. They can play it a bit risky and say, okay, we'll go for boss, and we are willing to take a team fight if they try to contest. Or they could just simply say, we're waiting for the next temples, we're going to fight there.
Shaihu does spot T-Darker and moving through the mid there, and they are all roaming up towards top to try and catch Falcon, but he has boosted out already, and he has the safety of a fort up there, so Falcon in the right lane at the right time, basically, because he has a little bit of defense to be able to fall back to once he starts trying to push this lane.
Top temple is going to be abandoned from the looks of it from LDLC. They have one here at the bot lane. It is Zebo soaking the lane experience, and he will most likely move towards the temple. Top temple is also about to be taken, and look at that, we have actually Shaihu down at the bot lane trying to claim the second temple. If they get both, that would be really bad news, and Zebo alone won't be able to deal with Chen. That's just not going to happen.
Black Scorp, unfortunately, going on the brunt end of that stick there from Shaihu, but again, everybody rotating down here from them. They're actually going to go for boss. They're actually going to go for boss here and try and have that push out towards that bottom fort. They're going to lose top fort themselves, but they are taking a lot of damage from those 2 temples here.
That's desperation. They don't have 13, and they know that they can't fight before something like that happens, so they just go for the boss. They take that, they know they lose a lot, and now they're gonna try and rotate down to the bot lane, maybe even picking off Shaihu. But he can just like go for the Wandering Hack and push them back. That's all that he has to do, but he doesn't even have to use his ult. So they put damage already at the bot lane, a lot more than that, and we're having at the top also the keep exposed already. And 8 minutes in, that boss is of course a nuisance, but it's not like the boss is going to be able to drop the fort here.
Yeah, Shaihu actually getting pushed out of position slightly there by the tornado. That could have gone awry if we saw LDLC in the right position to be able to punish that, but it doesn't occur, and they will take this boss down without even losing the fort. This bottom lane, and they're going to actually go for the engagement, but they do jump out there to LDLC.
They just need to push them out. The Sergeant Hammer is there, and they need to make sure that Hammer doesn't kill the fort so that they can use the mule to get it back to full health again, and that was the idea here, where Nika tried to go for for his ult. Also, of course, if you catch a hero out, then you can get that kill. We're having Spell Shield taken of Muradin, who's apparently afraid for his life in those fights. Usually you would see something like the Thunderclap talent that gives you the extra damage against single targets. Or even the, what's it called, the static health, something like that. Yeah, but double speed with the sprint taken on Uther and Azebo, and the extra talent on Sergeant Hammer for the damage against the tank line. It's a tough game. It's a very tough game for LDLC. Great movements on the map so far by Gamers2, and they are dominating this first map.
Yeah, not the best start for LDLC at all, you're right. But, I mean, on the flip side of that, you could just say that Gamers2 have had an amazing start. They've been coordinated, they've been very, very strong in all of their movements, they've been very decisive about what they want to do, and now they're going to try and rival their opponent's easy camp down here. And I don't think there's much they can do about 16 talents have come in, and it is going to be hard and focus here for Malfurion. So as long as he's staying nice and healthy, he's going to have a lot of potential output in the healing.
And we're also at the same time seeing Blood for Blood. We're having, of course, a second Lunar Flare talent also on Tyrande, who did not go for the piercing talent on level 1. And with a double storm, that's also a lot of potential to push those lanes out. I think they're going to give up that. Actually, they rotate over there with ADRD, not going to give up that fort just yet, even using Starfall to push that lane back. They really want to save it here, and with Yoba moving in on Tacita and supplying a shield, that should also be quite easy for them. And
they're going for the perfect game, man. They don't want to lose a single fort. But if they're able to do that against LDLC, I'll be extremely impressed, because, you know, LDLC, they may be down and out at this point in regards to how many forts they've lost, but they can, they can still try and turn it around here on Sky Temple.
Yeah, for that to happen, they need to really win a team fight, and if they win that at the right time, and they can claim a temple or two, then maybe they might be able to turn that around. But yeah, now another temple is getting activated there down at the bot lane, and this is where the entire team gathers up. 16 versus 16 talents. This is the time to fight. If you ever want to engage in a team fight, this is it. Yeah,
deciding last talent here on Muradin as well. It's going to be double imposing presence on the front line to try and slow down all of these attacks. T-Darker and Plates are positioning themselves as Shaihu was out of spot, but there goes the Odin to start this engagement off.
Yeah, and they're going straight for him. Odin pushes everybody back, and Nika is very low, just escapes in the last second. Healing wards on the ground, and of course we're having the heal from Tranquility thanks to Malfurion, and he keeps everybody alive, at least so far. T-Darker is moving back here. Nice engagement by LDLC, that's for sure, but here comes the kill against Muradin. Well done by Nika.
Very, very good. Little Rain of Vengeance able to jump in there. Black Scorp going low. He's going to have to get out. Xiaohu, as well as the Owl, were on the pursuit there of him. And Black Scorp, if he doesn't have his sprint off cooldown, he's got no way of getting out of there. And they're just going to continue chasing on with this.
Yeah, and they're going straight for Nazebo, and they might get him. A last heal by Polato. His heal is down for another 10 seconds roughly. And yes, there goes the second hero. They get 2, and therefore it's 4 kills against 0. That temple can still be taken. And the only hero that really just barely made an escape was Sergeant Hammer. He could have died as well. Yeah,
very, very close. Unfortunately, left Black Scorp. He knew his end was nigh and decided to run towards his opponent as he was just dying to maybe buy a little bit of extra time for them to get away. Of course, in the end, it might not have mattered, but, you know, small things like that in those engagements where you're having to flee away are very, very important.
And at the top lane, Killer Chino might be in a bit of trouble. 18 versus 16. They're stunned against Tychus, and they get him.
Nicely done. They're also going in for T-Darker, but he's a little bit too tanky there for their effort, and they won't chase past in towards those keeps. But now, it's 18 against 16. Once they hit 20 and extra temples become active, they have no map control here, do LDLC. This is a terrible, terrible position for them to be in.
Still, we have the Mule at least repairing the bottom keep, and that's important because it was nearly down. So Gamers2 might have, well, next time maybe they should consider just moving in and trying to take the last bit of damage in, because they had the chance to do that, but I guess with them taking the boss, it will do the job for them and drop the first keep here. It looks like LDLC is thinking about contesting. I'm just not sure if they can. With a 4 versus 5 and that disadvantage in stats, it's unlikely.
Yeah, exactly. Tychus only just rezzing and will now be able to try and run over there, but the boss is now on the way. Also, they're going to be able to take their opponent's easy camp as well, which makes this all the more annoying to deal with. And they can just force an engagement. I mean, they're up in levels. It's going to be 19 against 17 very, very soon. I don't know how they're going to be able to stop this, especially if Black Scorp takes a little bit of damage to start things off.
Well, that bottom keep is gonna fall. They drop a second mule, but that's already too late, and it's at half HP. You can't do anything about that. You're either gonna lose the the keep, or you're gonna lose a few of your heroes in the process of trying to defend against it. Kilachino immediately with his ult here, and they actually back off. They don't push it. Wow! They don't push it. Okay, that is a bit odd. They could have just like used a few skills to drop that, a multi-shot and a stun in there, and they would have been able to drop that. That surprises me, because now it can be muled up again, and they should know that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, at least for when another engagement comes along, if they take one when they hit 20, there is the potential that Odin will be off on cooldown, and maybe they can negate some of that damage from there. But that's got to come soon. That's got to come soon, as they're going to take a hard camp up to the top and try and rival some more of these temples.
And you never really want to overextend, but in this case, literally 1-2 storms and a multi-shot would have dropped that keep. Like, there was very, very little that you needed to do to get that. But you still have 2 temples there, so if they claim those, that will bring them into a great spot already. They have 19.5, so at this point LDLC can still be a threat to them, and that's of course something that Gamers2 knows as well. But they have the first one. They also have like lanes being pushed now by mercenary camps, and the bot lane is being pushed again. That could finish the keep, while the mid shrine, or the mid temple, is attacking the mid lane, keep and tower. And
they're going to have to focus someone down very, very fast in this engagement if they're going to take it, because there's so many healing wards on the back of this. They have so much sustain. Falcon sieging up and not quite in the position that he wants to be. They're already taking a lot of chipping damage here. T-Dark is almost half at health, and the other team, Gamers2, they're not even scratched.
T-Darker doesn't have stone form, and he can't use that, and that is a problem when you're playing Muradin. You don't have that anymore. Down goes Falcon, they take Hammer, and now they're just like trying to go off. Oh my god, that Rain of Vengeance just dropped the dwarf. No chance of him surviving here, and they are jumping in to take Kilachino down as well. Great stun once more from Tyrande, and Black Scob, I mean, he's running into the wrong direction, but there's no way left to escape.
Wow, and they took the bottom keep as well from there, so this has gone out of control, and it has been for a little while here for LDLC, unfortunately. They were trying to mount some kind of comeback, trying to challenge these temples.
They're going to end it.
Yeah, they can just push. This is pretty ridiculous. The Gamer2 have shown an amazing, amazing game here.
It snowballed completely out of the control of LDLC after that first temple phase, when they were suddenly 2 levels behind with the 10 to level 8, and not a single point the Gamers2 show a weakness that allowed the opponent to get back into the game. So right now, this is it. Map number 1 is ending in the favor of the Polish team. Gamers2, the former 3D Max team, take Sky Temple here in the best of 3 series at the ESL Major League against their opponent LDLC.
That was pretty brutal. Unfortunately there for LDLC. Gamers2, wow. Apparently they really took their transition from 3D Max to Gamers2 very seriously, because that one was strong. So now that leaves LDLC in a position where they get to now pick the next map. There's the potential that we could end up on Sky Temple again with the rules here at the Major League. And considering that Cursed as well as Garden of Terror were banned as the first 2 maps, we could see Sky Temple again.
But correct me if I'm wrong, if the map system wasn't like changed, then we're going to see 1 ban now and then the pick.
They can ban. They can ban, okay. Yes. So
they could go for it again for a ban, but right now there's nothing banned yet. Yeah.
So we're just waiting on that to come along here in this series. But I mean, what do you think, Kaldor, here that LDLC could have done differently? Did they lose that in the bans and picks? I don't think that was the case. But on Sky Temple there, what do you think they could have done differently?
They lost it in the beginning when they fell behind in experience. You can't allow yourself to do that. That second temple is one of the most important things that happens. And I am personally not a fan of only a single temple activating. I think Blizzard should change that and should make 2 temples instead of 1 activate in the second phase, so that even if you are behind, you have at least a chance to play around your opponent. The only thing that you can do now is try and soak the experience on 3 lanes, but in this case, you could really tell that didn't work at all, because the first thing that Gamers2 did when they realized, hey, we have 10, they got level 8, they cannot even contest the temple, is they rotated a hero to each lane, made sure that at the top lane, where LDLC was trying a push, they had enough counter presence to make sure that the fort didn't go down. So I think that the second temple phase is one of the biggest problems that we have on this map. And I think it's maybe not easily fixed that there's so much snowballiness on the map, but it's easily improved. Just make sure that at the second phase there are 2 temples activated instead of 1, and you have a much better position. And I think this is exactly where LDLC lost it. They fell behind too fast. It was level 10 versus level 8 as the second temple at the bot lane activated, and then you're screwed.
Yeah, especially with the amount of healing that they actually had. I mean, 3 healing wards as well as tranquility when it goes into that level 10 situation. They actually brought Valor really, really low on that fight that they had at the bottom fort when they were trying to kind of mount some kind of comeback, but even that wasn't available to them. They didn't get the kill. If they'd have got it, maybe they'd have been able to win that fight and then continue on from there, but that was one of the pivotal moments where not getting that kill, unfortunately for them, really, really hurt.
I actually am not even a fan of triple healing ward. I think that if you run 2 healing wards, that is pretty good. But with healing wards not stacking, there is like you either need to have like perfect coordination and really drop them after one another, which you usually don't, or you have just a scenario where you will cover a huge area. But in a scenario like that, where you have 3 heroes with healing ward, I personally think you would be better off taking 1 protective shield. Because with that, you can also mitigate some focus on a certain hero and keep somebody alive. I mean, we're talking about Gamers2 here. They won the game anyway,
Yeah.
so for them, it didn't really matter too much. But just like as a side note while we're talking about these things.
Yeah, it's basically min-maxing that we're trying to do here, and a lot of theory crafting, which, I mean, that's the fun of the game, right? There are so many possibilities that you can have with those talents. So spreading your load across everything there and trying to kind of diversify things up is nice, but Helium Water is extremely powerful regardless. So having a lot to your disposal can really help out.
Yeah, and it looks like actually LDLC is asking for a 2-minute break. I'm not quite sure how we're going to handle that, but the bans for the maps were Curse and Mines.
Yes.
They were bans, so yeah.
And now I assume they're going to deliberate things amongst themselves and figure this out. I'm pretty sure we can just go to a short break ourselves.
Yeah.
And then...
I mean, I would rather give them like 2 minutes so
Yeah.
that they can think about what happened there and like how they can come back than just like forcing the issue and pushing them into the next game right away.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've only got 1 series today, so why on earth not? So, all right, guys, we're going to go to a short break, and then when we're back, we're going to have game number 2 between LDLC and Gamers2. All right, ladies and gents, welcome back to the ESL Major League now as we get into game number 2 here between LDLC and Gamers2, and it's going to be on Blackheart's Bay. So we may see some cannon action here from one of the two teams, but LDLC picking this, I'm kind of surprised. We actually saw Kirsten Mines being banned from the other side. So Garden of Terror and Sky Temple were technically available, but I've decided to go to Blackheart's.
I like it. I like that we're seeing. Well, first of all, I love it that Cursed is banned. I cannot see like Cursed is like my. It's a fun map. It's just I had days where I casted 5 Cursed matches in a row.
Yeah, we see a lot of it.
I personally hate this rule that like it's everywhere right now, and it was like it was needed because the map pool was so small that you can pick a map again if you lost on the map. But that really led us into a lot of games where we saw Blackhearts being played, Cursed being played 5 games in a row in like 2 different best of 3s, of course. But it's kind of getting a bit tiresome. So I'm very, very happy about any other map than Cursed.
Yeah, might need to go for season 2 with Sky Temple now in the mix and the potential of other maps coming out pretty soon as well. But for now, we're just waiting for LDLC to ready up. Gamers2 are already good to go.
Give Spider Map me.
Oh yeah, the spider map. That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that when it does come out. Also, I liked the Heaven and Hell looking map as well. The concept art for that was extremely cool.
Just in general, like having a new map is absolutely awesome. Really looking forward to that. But yeah, lobby's open, and I guess did our draft start? I suppose not yet.
Just waiting on LDLC to ready up. So I can't join the lobby just yet, as I'm waiting for the picks and bans to start. But when it can, I will jump on in. I could see this going to Gamers2 2-0 actually. Of course, LDLC are a fantastic team and able to mount comebacks where they need to. So the Blackhearts is maybe going to be a little bit more open here for that recovery potential to occur. But Gamers2 showed a really, really fantastic game.
Yeah, and the draft just started, so let's see what's going to be the first picks and, well, first of all, of course, the bans in this series. The last time we've seen LDLC with first pick, first ban, and them going straight for a ban on ETC. On this map now, well, let's see what Gamers2 is going to decide to do, and we might actually, of course, see our melee assassins as well.
Yeah, we may do. We may see those banned, might see them picked. Really depends on how things lead here from Gamers2. To start things off. So again, to reiterate, this is a very important series. This series basically determines who gets first place in the league going on into the playoffs. So the team winning this will play against 4th place in the league in the playoffs, which is a huge, huge advantage. And Sonya actually gets banned.
Only reason why, I mean, there's 2 reasons why you could ban Sonya. One is you go for a complete bullshit ban, which I don't really think this is, because then you could have gone for something like completely different, like Murky. Or Sonya is being used as a counter against Illidan.
Yeah.
So with that being banned, you could actually see one of the teams trying to work towards Illidan. On this map in particular, Sonya is also really good to get the objectives because you can do all of those camps alone. So that's why we sometimes see Sonya.
Yeah, some of the smaller camps are easy. And a counter to the potential of Illidan coming out. Rhaegar gets banned as well for LDLC.
And of course, that puts also pressure on the healers again. So Uther, and that's why we have the first pick Uther. Exactly. There's also, of course, the problem that if you don't take Uther, you might end up with your opponent, especially since there is a healer ban. You might go see the opponent go Stitches and Uther immediately and having that comp. So yeah, good choice here by Gamers2. I like that.
Definitely. This opens up LDLC now to have their 2 picks, and they could take a lot of damage here. They could easily pick up the Valor, etc. Moving on forwards, which Gamers2 obviously gave up by the way the bans flowed, and then them going for the Uther, making sure that they were able to pick up that healer.
If you're afraid that your opponent might go into Illidan, Tassadar together with one of the DPS heroes would be a good choice here. The one thing you have to consider as well if you're LDLC is that your opponent might actually try and go into a double healer combo at some point and pick another one away. I don't really think that Gamers2 is going to do that, but there's always that threat looming.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about that before, actually, with the potential of them going for like a Malfurion off of this as well on the other side. But LDLC have picked up Hammer. Always a good choice, and Hammer Valor. So, as we were mentioning before, you know, they had room to pick up these damage dealers, and they got 2 darn good ones.
Yeah, and with that, of course, what we need for Gamers2 is some damage. They have still options to... I mean, in terms of tanks, ETC is still there. Stitches is still there. You could go Stitches and pick a Tyrande with that. That leaves you once again with a lot of stun potential. And you have the engage with a hook and later fishing hook. If you go for sustain build, you could go also for Stitches ETC, have 2 of those tanks, but then you still lack the damage. You would probably like to pick Nazeebo then later on. There are a couple of other choices that you could aim for. Even in just an Illidan build with Nazeebo and Illidan would help you to create some space for Nazeebo's Ravenous Spirit. But there is, of course, pressure on them now with both of the right-click DPS heroes ending up in the hands of LDLC.
Yeah, if they went for Stitches and a Tyrande, for example, we actually saw the idea of Uther, Stitches, and Tyrande all synergizing and not really working out for Acer when there was that weird scenario with the lack of bans.
Yeah, but that doesn't really count. If you hit your Lunar Flare 3 times on an already stunned target, then of course it's not going to work out. I mean, you have to hit these things.
But look at this. They went for the 2 tanks.
I mean, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
That is great synergy there, because you have now, like, all of these heroes that you see synergize extremely well, because you can hook in a target, and the whole idea of hook is isolating a target and then, like, just ping-ponging it around and trying to kill it, and that's what they do with this. They have then, of course, first of all, Face Melt that they can use to push it even farther back. They have the stun on Uther, and they can go for a Power Slide as well. So that works extremely well to lock a target down. What they need now is something that can actually kill it.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, I think ETC does provide a small amount of burst when you actually go for, once you use Guitar Hero, Guitar Solo, and you take the talent, I can't remember what it's called now, the one that gives you a little bit of extra damage once you've used it, and then they get the hit off. So, and again, you know, the trait of ETC and able to power up the damage dealers around him with the extra 20% attack speed is very, very powerful just in general. ETC all around is such a good pick.
Yeah. They could still go for Tyrande with this to just make it even more potent to hook something in. Then, of course, you are then you need something else for damage. Like, that is the problem that you have with the Tyrande pick, that it's not really a pure damage that you get with that. So I think they will have to go for Nazeebo first of all for one of their picks, and a second one with this could still be Illidan. You can still jump the back line with ETC going for a stage dive and Illidan there. And if not, then we will most likely see something up. Even Tyrande picked away. And if not that, then they might go for something like Nazeebo together with, let's say, even something like Reina or Tychus.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tyrande is a good pick from LDLC because it's just, in general, a good hero. But it really does feel to me like they're picking it away from Gamers2. Like you were kind of alluding to and theorizing before that. And they're going to take Malfurion, making sure that they actually have a healer in this game.
Also, leaving the tank still open, and that could be a potential Chen, or even if Ravenous Spirit is now being picked, which is very likely, it could still be a Diablo for Apocalypse to stun that out. We've seen that used as a counter by teams like Team Tomorrow Big. The Keck does the same job if you go for Chen, but of course he is not as tanky.
Don't remind me of Tomorrow Big. I can't believe someone named a team after a Carmack phrase. I don't think he actually knows that that exists right now, and I'm hoping that it stays away from him for a long, long time. So,
I don't think they actually know.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
I mean...
Oh well, I'm not going to tell him. Somebody else will have to tell him, and then his head can inflate. Anyway, so going into the 4th pick.
If they were Polish, then maybe.
Maybe.
They are not, so yeah. I mean, right now for Gamers2, they of course know that as well, that if they pick Nazeebo, that there's a good chance that whatever the tank is, it's going to be something that will try and just like take him out there. And they go instead, therefore, for Falstad, which has, of course, first of all, a very mobile presence. This is actually like, this is a hero that they played. This is the only team that played Falstad with different builds, not only with a burst build. Well, I guess SK played it at one time too, but not only with the burst build, but also with the right-click build that you sometimes see, especially when Nika is playing the hero. But that is something that 3D Max is sometimes doing.
Yeah, in week 4 we actually saw SK picking Falstad against LDLC with unfortunately not too much success. So it's a cool pick here. Gamers2 probably going to try and utilize that a little bit better than SK did in that previous week's worth of games. But if in conjunction with ETC taking something like Stage Dive, there could be a lot of global threat.
I'm really interested what the last pick is going to be here, because I don't know, like, I was still thinking about, like, an Illidan earlier, but the problem that you still have with an Illidan is that you only rely on Uther, and they pick Nazeebo now instead. And you know, with the Nazeebo pick, I find Falstad a bit weird, because that's a lot of mage damage that they have there, very little right-click damage. I was expecting them to go at least for one right-click, or one hero that relies more on his auto attacks than anything else for that.
If everything lines up, they could cause a lot of damage very quickly, but it's whether or not it all lines up.
They have the setup for that. They have the burst potential against the target that is being hooked by Stitches. That is definitely there. And they have the potential to really like wipe an entire team with this. That's no doubt about that. It's just that it's not really that I want to say guaranteed damage that you have with other heroes. But if, of course, they get the ultimates in, if they get a Hinterland Blast together with a good Ravenous Spirit, and maybe even, who knows, Mosh Pit on ETC, then you can just like wreck a team in seconds. So there is a lot of potential with this. It's just a bit surprising that they can go for one right-click hero with that.
All right, so now we're getting into the lobby here. As we said before, it is Blackheart's Bay, second map. At the moment, Gamers2 is one game away from taking the top spot here in the Major League portion, moving on into the playoffs. So, looking at the lineups that we see here, Kaldor, do you give sway to any of these particular teams?
Not really. Actually, like, I think Gamers2 has still the better lineup here. I'm not really, I personally, like from personally playing, I'm not really a fan of that damage comp, but that doesn't make it bad. It's actually very strong if you can use it, and we have a lot of squishies on the side of LDLC, and what's even more important, there's no burst heal. So they're relying heavily on Malfurion, and Malfurion can be hooked. There's like a lot of hook targets that are very, very good. Tyrannus not going to get away when she gets hooked. Malfurion is going to have the same problem. Sergeant Hammer can use the thrusters. Vala can use Vault, but that won't work if they get stunned out real fast. So I think they're going to be under a lot of pressure here, and it's going to be very difficult for them to keep their team together.
Yeah, I think Malfurion is not too bad a choice as long as you're not clumping up too hard when it goes to the Tranquility going down, because if you think about the two major heroics on the other side that are going to cause problems, being the Hinterland Blast as well as the Ravening Spirit, they are two that are looking for a lot of AoE damage when they go in, so maybe the Tranquility can try and keep them up. So I don't mind Malfurion going up against this. As you say, if they do clump up a little bit too hard, then it's going to cause them huge problems.
Well, Malfurion is good against the Ravenous Spirit, but Malfurion doesn't give you anything against Hinterland Blast and against like the burst damage that you get with Falstad in general. So he's great with a healing ward. You basically heal out the Ravenous Spirit, so that's really good. And I think it's whatever they do, I think it's going to be the attempt to go for a comp where they try to like blow a target up together with a Ravenous Spirit and a Hinterland Blast behind that. And I just think it's going to be very difficult to keep these heroes alive. Healing wards have to be part of this. And will of course be. So if those in good place, they have a good chance there. But there's a lot more tankiness on the lineup that we're seeing for Gamers2, with at the same time them having a lot of potential for damage. I mean, we could even see a slam build on Stitches with this.
Yeah, we could. Even the AoE stun would be very, very useful and try and help them out when it goes into those things, unless they really, really want to favor that fishing hook, which is very, very useful. So it's such a hard choice when you get to level 16 as Stitches. But Black Scorp saying in chat, Illidan and Zera not picked, or not banned, and no one picked them. So new meta apparently on Black Scorp's side of things. But it's going to be interesting to see how this lines up for sure.
Well, everybody ready? Blackheart's Bay is good to go, and yep, we're good to go as well. So let's just like jump in. Yeah, I have no idea either, but well, it's going to be for team fights. This is going to be very interesting. Much more damage on the side of LDLC, but also very squishy heroes and two that have no escape. So if they get hooked, they're in trouble.
Yeah, we're just waiting for Leo now to start this game up, and I'm very interested to see how this is really going to play out. Again, these two are the top teams in regards to the European scene at the moment, the top of the Major League. We have some cool compositions here. And I'm wondering overall how Shaihu is going to build, with you saying, you know, the potential of a slam build coming out. There's a lot of options on Stitches, which is what makes him such a great hero in general. And Leo from Korea is apparently AFK. So, yeah, this is taking.
What do you oftentimes see? I mean, in this case, the slam build, is there really something that you need to interrupt? If Vala goes for Strafe, then maybe you think about going for a hybrid build. I don't really think they would need the extra damage. I think on 16, Fishing Hook with that comp that they're running here would be a great talent for them to take. But as he has ETC in the lineup, you have options. With the double tank, you have options on Stitches, and we might actually see him just wait on a few of his talents to see what the opponent is doing. Or just simply saying like, all right, don't care at all, and just like goes down one particular path. But well, personal preference.
Yeah, crafting himself around the enemy is something that is one of the biggest benefits here of playing heroes and being able to react to things. That's why, you know, we see sometimes spell shield being taken by a Valor in a certain situation, etc. But anyway, let's get into game number 2 now on Blackheart's Bay between these two teams.
LDLC versus Gamers2, the second game in the best-of-3 series here at the ESL Major League, and we're seeing the Polish team, Gamers2, in a 1-0 lead against their opponent here. To the left side, it is Leo from Korea on Uthai, Diardi on Azibo, Shaihu on Stitches, we have Yovo on ETC, and Nika on Falstad. Here in Blackheart's Bay, our second map to the right side, the team in red from Spain. It is LDLC with Black Scorp on Vala, Tidaka on Murden, Falcon on Sergeant Hammer, Kilachino on Tyrande, and Polata on Malfurion. And well, I'm Keldar with Miskelaris, and we're gonna find out if Gamers2 can maybe even win this with a 2-0, or if LDLC is gonna start a comeback here.
We're already seeing movement here from Gamers2, trying to head down to the bottom and see if they can find someone. If Falcon was to step out of place, and he may die off pretty quickly, but looks like that's not going to be the case for now. Falcon's keeping himself well defended.
Yeah, that didn't really work out, so they just moved back and started lane experience. With the bird already flying in, Nika is flying straight into the mid lane here. And they have, of course, sent one of the heroes also up at the top. 50 seconds in-game, we're going to see the chests spawn. And that's when you are trying to rotate, at least with a few heroes, towards the mid lane to get those, unless you really want to just, like, exchange chest for chest.
Yeah. Wish I who in the level 1 lineup as on Stitches, they could have tried to contest the Watchtower, but decided not to. I think they gave their opponents a lot of respect in the reactions, or the potential reactions that they could have gone out from. But a little bit out battle over chest. Kilachino taking quite a bit of damage there. Does have to be careful. Oh, Tidaka.
Yeah. Tidaka and Kilachino very low and have to move back. Oh, great hook, and they might be able to get Tidaka, but the stun, yeah, they're gonna get it. Nika is going to...
Oh, the turnaround!
Get stunned out in the last second. Really well done. Great kill by LDLC. That looked like it was a sure kill, and then he dies instead. That was well done.
Oh, that was brutal. The little turnaround there, the heal from Kilachino onto Muradin, keeping him alive just for that last bit and able to continue on. So very, very cool little play.
He has a point here, though. That spike hit me as well. I'm not sure if you experienced it, but at the same time as he experienced that spike, there was a huge spike for me too.
I did, yeah.
That was definitely on the last hit for his hero, so I don't really blame him that he's mad about that.
Yeah, I had that happen, and I wondered if it was just me, but then I saw that in chat, and oh well. Regardless, still in beta, still in beta. Shaihu as well as Nika in the mid lane, just controlling that, and already Tidaka and Black Scorp going down to hard camp. Joey does see this, but Falcon's also supporting it. It's going to be hard to rotate and deny that.
Yeah, you can tell that they are starting to fall behind here. They lost 2 heroes. The Polish team is now under a lot of pressure. In terms of builds, Yovo is actually trying to move in. He waited for the rest of this team, go straight for a face melt, and Tidaka in trouble. Oh, everybody is going for the dwarf here, and they steal the camp away. Even a hook against Falcon for a second, putting him under more pressure. Very well done. Great job here, actually, by Gamers2.
Yeah, I expected that to be a little bit out of their reach, but the delay from Zhao there with the ETC was very, very well played. So good stuff by him. Leo from Korea just holding on against Kilachino in the mid, and having a little bit of a turn in there from Stitches with some coins. So they've got themselves a nice little hand in. They're going to take themselves the easy camp as well to start pushing the bot lane, along with that hard camp, already doing some damage and getting rid of some of that ammo.
We have Stitches indeed with a hybrid build. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the build that he plays there. Playing Stitches is one of my mains. I mean, I like the hybrid build that you see oftentimes played by players like Araragi, where you go either for, most of the times you go for sustain in the first seven levels, and then later on you switch into slam if there is a reason for you to do so, if you, for example, want to stun in a Zebo out. In this case, it's giving up the Chuya Fu talent, which is great and works very well with amplified healing. So he still has amplified healing that he can be kept alive by Uther a little bit easier. But I'm curious to see what he's going to take on level 7 and especially then later on 16.
Ooh, Falcon might get caught off guard here. The hook does miss. Good juke there by Falcon. But at the same time, also the wall, and they are able to get the kill. A backup plan from ADRD with that zombie wall. So really well played out, despite the really good juke from Falcon.
Yep. And well, with the first barrage going up against the mid lane, we're having now on 1 tower dropped, and they will get very close to dropping that. Actually, they will drop that fort. They get that as well, so that's already a good job. Blackscope, by the way, with 11 coins now at the top lane, going on his Vala for a multi-shot build, and we're having a full Stormbolt build on Mirrodin, so going straight for the normal build. Also a Mule taken. Pretty cool to see a Mule taken here. This is a great map to pick Mule. Unfortunately for them, they were not able to keep that mid fort alive to Mule it to full health again.
Vala would really like to turn those coins, and you pointed out before with the 11 coins that she's carrying now, so it's going to have to be protect the Vala for a little while during this game. If she ends up falling, with these extra coins having to be contested now, and that could cause a lot of problems. But look at how well Gamers2 have brought themselves back into this with the small little skirmishes that they've had here and there. In terms of the experience, they're going to hit level 10, and this Vala can't really turn in just yet.
And that also puts pressure on those chests, because now we are seeing a rotation to the top with 4 heroes, and they could go for a bit of a trap, and that's exactly what they're doing. And suddenly Blackscope is in so much trouble. He's trying to vault away, but straight into Shine. He uses Gorge, brings Vala away, and that's 11 coins that they easily get here. They drop Tyrande too, and this is extremely bad news. I mean, that's more than 20 coins that we're seeing for Gamers2 now. Yeah,
they just took a massive, massive chunk of this game straight away from LDLC, and now the 8 coin turn in, they're going to bring Jove down as well to go for that turn in, and geez, that was again a very, very difficult time for LDLC, who are really up against it.
This is another ship. The ship is going to attack the top lane, and as you can see, the towers over there are already down, or at least one of them. So, yep, they try to take down the second one in time, but that doesn't happen. So this is going to drop another fort. There's going to be even more experience that we're seeing for Gamers2, and LDLC is under a world of pressure now, because they have 10s, yes, but still, they are more than a level behind, or will be as soon as that fort at the top drops.
Yeah, we're going to have more coins coming in from the hard camp. It's going to make the potential extra turn in the favor here of Gamers2 once again, as soon as a few more coins. And T Darker, again, he has 10 coins, so if they take a slip up in engagement, as he's moved down to try and get the turn in as quickly as possible, he doesn't want those 10 coin stolen away. But if he does have that happen, then it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, Vala was also under a lot of pressure here. Blackscope just barely getting away. And now with 13 nearly on the board, we could even see them angle towards the boss. We have Nika at the bot lane defending against Falcon, but he can always just use his fly in and go to the top.
Oh, yeah, contesting the boss. This is a bit irritating for them. They're all rotating around here. T-Darker realizes he's going to take that Watchtower and maybe push on forwards, but can they even contest? It's level 13 now against level 11 with the extra talents coming in.
I don't think they can, especially since we could see Nika fly up to the top. He's a bit low in health, but he should always go there, and then they would fight a 5 versus 4. So yeah, boss is abandoned. They get more coins. They can turn those in. The first Ghost Ship Barrage finally for the Spanish team, but they were not able to drop the fort in the mid lane yet. No Mule on the side of Gamers2, so it doesn't really matter too much, but still it's annoying for them.
Yeah, double sprint being taken on the characters, our heroes that usually use them with the Uther and the Nazebo there. And then, of course, the continue of the slam, and another kill on Vala down to the bottom with Xiaowei jumping straight on in. That's going to give them a hard camp, more coins, more pressure in these lanes, and another turn in probably very soon.
Yeah, this is this is extremely well played by Gamers2 now. They know that they have an advantage. They just go for coins, they go for objectives, they don't even try to go into team fights. They will happily take any team fight that they have to fight right now, but they are not looking for them. They're just saying, okay, we rotate through the map, we're going to take a fort when we get that opportunity, we're going to take all of the mercenary camps that are there, including the boss, and we take the coins, and then we go for another turn in. And every single time that they catch a hero, it's another advantage that they will have there, and also the team fights are going to be great for them. Now that 13 is available for LDLC, this is the time that the Spanish team should actually look for a fight and try to turn things around. They
were looking for the intercept there. Leo from Korea actually using it to heal and getting these guys up once again. But Shaihu does get pinned down there for a second. Darker's going to pop his avatar, try and go into this game. There's Strafe as well. He's protected, so they're not going to be able to get into him. But there is the Hinterlands plan. Shaihu will fall.
Yeah, great Hinterland Blast, but the hero that dies is Stitches. He was too far out at the front. Dark, on the other hand, goes down to Leo, escapes just barely, but he is still alive. But now they are being chased. It's still 1.5 levels advantage that we're currently seeing for the Polish team. But they are trying to get another kill there, and they might be able to drop you over. Yeah, Black Scope with another Frost Shot takes ETC off the horse, but very little they can do after that.
That was a good time for them to engage as well. They just hit level 13, they got those talents in. Best chance for them to try and get a win in terms of the engagement. So they did get 1 for 1, which is probably as well as they could have done. But here comes the stage dive from Yova, gonna get Black Scorp.
Yeah, takes Black Scorp down, and that of course means coins, coins, and more coins. And that's a ship. That's an easy ship. Oh, nice fly in by Nika. Maybe not far enough. Didn't want to dive too far here. But yeah, that nearly took down Kilachino. But it is still that biggest problem that they have, because there's currently still a chest up at the top. That's another 5 coins that they can get. They have currently 8 coins on ADRD. 2 have been dropped at the small camp, so that's 10 coins in total. That's 15 coins, 17 coins that they could turn in, and that would probably give them another ship already. And I mean, we are starting to look at the keeps here.
Yeah, we are, especially with this wall going down very, very soon, down to the bottom. Everything being barraged in the middle already. And they are just going to pull back for now. Valor has gotten up again, so they don't want to be taking an engagement just yet. Even though they have 16, they have double imposing presence on their front liners, with Pulverize actually being taken on Stitches to really cause a little bit of havoc in those team fights.
Yeah, and that is another ship, an easy one at that. They will have even a few excess coins. And this is going to drop the mid-keep. Mid-keep is going to fall now, and then the top lane is being attacked too with this. And again, they just rotate towards the next camp, and they're just like saying, why would we fight? We have no reason to look for a fight.
Yeah.
Every time we would look for a fight, we would waste time. Time that we can use to gather more coins, to send more mercenaries to our opponent, and put pressure on them. The boss is going to be up in 1.5 minutes, so they are just playing the map, and they're doing it very well.
Yep, there goes the keep in the mid. Now even the top wall is going to be attacked here by the ship, which means that, unfortunately, LDLC are all in bot lane, maybe trying to push this down because they know the position of the majority of the heroes up to the top, and looking for some experience anywhere, trying to get these towers, maybe trying to do a little bit of damage to the fort, but here comes the rotation as they're on the way.
Yeah, they were not looking for a fight so far, but up to this point LDLC was also playing more passive, and now they're like, hey, no, you're not playing with our structures here. That's not going to happen, boys, so back off or we're going to go for that fight. Yeah, especially with ETCs jumping in with the stage dive, you don't really want to risk that.
Yeah, it's that global presence that ETC has, also the follow-up from Falstad, who apparently we're seeing him very, very willing on with Nika, just able to jump in and get himself in very, very scary situations where he's going to be able to do damage. So if they get out of position at all, they have to stay as a 5, they have to make sure that they're very, very conscious about any kind of divergence from being a 5, because otherwise they'll just get jumped on.
Yeah, I mean, Falstad will not try and jump in. Chasing is one thing, but if there's still everybody alive, I don't think that he's really going to go for a fly-in here. Unless he needs to catch up with the team. But into the opponent, that would risking too much. Like, if Falstad flies in and you see that, and he flies into the team, then we're going to see that stun synced up perfectly on Muradin and on Tyrande, and Falstad is going to die within a second, and then you play a 4 versus 5. So he needs to be careful with that. For the chase, on the other hand, it's great, especially since you can then also use your hammer. We have another turn in now again, and they are a few coins short, but now they can go for the boss again. And then guess where the entire team of LDLC is? They're busy at the bot lane, pushing once more.
Oh, and that owl that they sent up to the top barely misses that for a second. They do see Falstad flying up there, though, with the remnants of that owl, so that will prompt them to go and challenge it. So owl helps a lot.
I mean, they see them taking the wave, so...
That too, that helps too. Oh.
That's why the second owl comes in. But yeah, the head vision of the entire team the entire time now. Tidaka actually trying that already, but we have Stitch, ETC still at the bot lane, getting another camp. He can turn in those coins then too. That would put them to, is there another camp that he can take? Nah, he can't take it on his own, but he can deliver 5 coins. That's 2 minutes still on this other one, so with 5 coins it would be at 17. Can't get the ship yet. Oh, but there's the chest. Right on.
All right, well, 2 more coins going to come in from this little camp on the left-hand side. And they need to do something pretty quickly. I mean, they have equal talents. Of course, they're going to hit 17 very, very soon as well. So maybe this will be a prime opportunity here for LDLC to actually take an engagement.
ETC is not jumping in just yet. Here comes the Hinterland Blast. Oh, and the ult from ADRD. Perfect ult, but right away the healing wards everywhere. Malfurin is already dead, so no heal for them anymore. No tranquility any longer. Yova is still getting extremely low, and he is getting dropped, as might Stitches be.
So much poison everywhere from the extra talent of on Specialized Toxin from Nazeebo, and he's going to get a lot of cleanup there. I think Falcon has to fall.
Everybody. Yeah.
So nicely done, nicely done. Really spreading that very, very evenly across that team, and then now even T-Dark are falling. A full team wipe there. That's Gamer2. Jeez.
Nika going balls deep there. If that Stormbolt, if he would have waited a bit longer, I mean, it's a loss-loss situation for Meridian. If he waits too long with the Stormbolt, then the wall of zombies is going to hit him, or something else that that Nazeebo throws against him. But if he could have waited a bit longer, I think that Stormbolt might have put Falstad in a position where he dies. The result is going to be the same at the end of the day. Now the problem, of course, occurs that the top lane is going to be maybe dropped by that barrage that we're seeing there. Could potentially be. Bot lane also attacked with a Siege Giant camp there, and the boss is now prepared by ADRD. Another 7 coins for them already. This is a great game for them.
Yeah, definitely. The Owl spots, but unfortunately, because level 16 talent not taken, not able to really do huge amounts of damage to that, so as it didn't even clip him. And now the boss is going to get taken. Another Owl going to be sent up there. They see and confirm everything that's going on, but contesting this, nope, nope, nope.
Oh, the top lane. That boss is gonna finish it. Or should finish it. But yeah, that keep just barely surviving. The mule right away being dropped. Level 20 hit now as well. How many coins do they have? Oh, that's 16, 18 coins. They're too shy. But they have the easy camps to the left side, the mini camps, the pirate camps, so they can go for those. And that will then drop the bottom keep. So they're gonna drop every single keep here.
And they still haven't lost a fort, Kaldor. They still keep holding on strong. Gamers2 in these past 2 games has shown a fantastic level of play.
Look at that! They actually saved the top keep for now. Well, it won't happen to... it won't be too much because, well, we have another coin turned in and that's going to be another barrage. But at least they destroyed the boss before that. The funny thing is really that the fort in the mid lane is still alive for the blue team.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible. This was like, how many minutes ago? Like, roughly 8, 9?
Yeah. It's so low, unfortunately. And they haven't had any opportunity at all to even pressure it because of how Gamer2 have been able to control the map.
Yeah. Tirana is trying to convince the Owl to fly into the building and not around it, so that would take the building down easily. And yeah, here comes the barrage against the bot lane. Bye last keep, I suppose. And the fight here with 20 versus 18. Can they go for it? Hook against that Siege Giant. Bad Siege Giant.
Joey is going to take quite a bit of damage, getting the lockdown as well. Here comes the Starfall to start this engagement off. ADRD and Shaifu are pretty low, but they're going to go for the jump anyway. Stage dive straight on in, and there goes the Hurricane, and they get a lot of damage from that.
Especially that Hinterland Blast was really good. Killer Chino and Polada both low, but they have not been dropped yet. T-Darka is about to die if they focus him, and they do. So they kill one hero out. They are being followed though, but Nika with his boomerang is dishing even more damage out. It is the core that is going to be attacked next, and we're already having one of the camps pushing in up at the top. It is the hard camp. And yeah, with one hero still down, they could actually go for it. They're just a bit too low in health and mana.
And now LDLC still completely up against it. It takes a miracle to return it from this situation. Of course, if they were able to somehow establish some kind of map dominance, then get some forts they could catch up in experience by a little bit. But even then, we're seeing Gamer2 just coordinate so well.
It's 10 coins that they have. If they turn them in, they need another 12, so they can win that either with the objectives or they can decide to simply push. But for now, it really looks like they're just going to take the coins. They even forgot one to the right side. But they're just going to take the coins, trying to play the objectives, and with all of the lanes pushing in and camps taken and sent their way, LDLC has to play extremely passive here.
Very passive. Black Scorp.
Over is dancing.
Is he actually dancing?
Oh, yeah, he was using the slash dance. I mean, the opponent can't see him. That's not really BM or anything, but like, yeah, walked over there.
He's having fun.
He was waiting for the camp to come up, and now, of course, they have also the chest. Like, yeah.
Well, here comes the potential contention from LDLC as they move towards where the turn-in is going to happen. And for Gamers2, they're going to disperse. They're not together. Uther was on the bot lane, so... But, I mean, LDLC have no coins to turn in, so it doesn't even really matter if they contest this position for now, just potentially delaying the inevitable.
They could wait in the main base. I'm not even kidding. If they wanted to, they could just wait in the main base until the lanes push in and LDLC has to move back, and then they go over there, turn in, and win the game.
Yeah, they could. That Owl's not going to see anything. They were seeing, maybe if they were in the main base. But
they are. They actually are.
They're just chilling out.
And the bot lane is pushing in, and guess what? Black Scop is moving over, and now that they see Black Scop, they can say like, oh, 5 versus 4? Hell yeah, we're going to take that.
Yeah. And ETC obviously just doing what he can at the front. He can continue pushing because he can easily get out of there if he gets in a really, really sticky situation. 20 has come in, though, for LDLC. It's going to be Nexus Frenzy on Hammer, Blink on Valor, Rewind on Muradin, and double Storm Shields across Tyrande and Malfurion.
Yeah, they're trying to go for the turn in. ETC is up at the top. They see T-Darka trying to dish the damage in. Rest of the team is moving in. Now they can just retreat. ETC push. As long as they don't get caught here, it's all good.
Yeah.
And ETC at the top lane, I mean, that's 3 catapults that are moving in. And they need to react to this. They need to move back, and they need to move back fast.
This is really unfortunate for LDLC, who are so up against it. And as you mentioned, ETC makes this all the more annoying because he can do things like this. So actually, Shaiho took a lot of damage at the turn-in, but here comes the jump from him onto Killershino, trying to do some damage. Oh, dear me, he gets absolutely exploded.
Yep, and that puts it in 4 versus 5, even with Black Scop finally arriving, and now that's Killerchino dying as well. The Gorge against Vala. Vala blinking away, but dying to the poison any second now. And this is game.
Brilliant game from Gamer2. Brilliant game. Brilliant series overall. As look at the command that they've had against this. And with the strength here as Falcon falls as well, I mean, who can really question them taking first place in the Major League so far? This has been an amazing performance.
Yeah, that was really well played by them, and they just made sure that they would win this game, never even overextending or anything. They played the objective, forced them to defend with a hero, turned it into 4 versus 5, jumped in, took the game and the fight. And this is it. This is a 2-0 in the best-of-3 series for the Polish team, once again establishing the dominance in Europe. So congratulations to Gamers2, the old 3D Max squad, taking down LDLC with a 2-0 in the best-of-3 series.
Yeah, that was really well done by them. So now they sit atop the leaderboard here in the Major League. And as I said, do claim first place going into the playoffs in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. So that's a really good spot for them. They will be in the playoffs playing against the 4th place going into the playoffs. So very, very strong performance from them. Hard to really rival that position. And LDLC, I mean, they're not down now at all. They're probably going to get to the playoffs as well. It was just really a case of who was going to get that 1st and 2nd spot. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not the 3-mapper that we were hoping for. Very well played, and LDLC just like not really in the position to take the game there today. But yeah, congratulations to Gamers2. I mean, they just keep winning. They have been around for a long time, and it really shows that they have a lot of synergy and just know each other's playstyle in and out.
All right, well, that pretty much does it for our broadcast. We only had one best-of-3 today. As you said, I wish it had gone to all 3 maps because we didn't have really much to do this evening. But that is it. And that also means you can join us on Thursday at exactly the same time, where we will have 2 series, unless for some reason a team decides to disband and cause a few problems. But hopefully that's not the case, and we do get 2 best-of-3s then. So any last words, Caldor, before we sign off?
Nope, congratulations to Gamers2 taking it here, and let's hope for a couple good matches on Thursday.
All right, well, that does it from us here at ESL TV. A huge thanks for tuning in. Make sure to tune in on Thursday once again for more Major League action.